Good day, you beautiful people of YouTube. It's the Mad Marine, and, well, I've got a special video for you guys. That being said, I have owed you guys this video for quite a long time. I know I'd hinted about it, but I've just been really slow to getting around to it. Have ran into some problems along the way, and we're going to talk about that in this video. But let's go ahead and talk about what in the world you're seeing before your eyes. Believe it or not, you are seeing a Draco Micro Underfolder SBR. So, yep, an Underfolder SBR. I have never seen anyone do this before, so I'm not saying this is the first one ever, but it's the first one I've seen on the internet. So, here you go in all her glory. So, neat little package. So, the Draco Micro is about 14.5 inches overall length. So, basically from this end to the where the comp ends, and then the barrel length is 6.25 inches, so very, very small package. That being said, I have had to change the design over time because, well, you know, when you're doing something that's never been done before or have no real guidance on, some of the things you think are going to work don't. So let's talk about why in the world I came up with this ridiculous idea. And again, previously we've talked about this, right? Like, this is why. And that's a fair enough question. So why is because I wanted to do it. But that's really the second reason. The first reason is I really wanted an MP5. But when you start talking about an actual HK SP5, which is the civilian model, SBRing it and all the parts and loading it down, it was an easy $4 grand real quick. Whereas this thing, I'm in under $2,500. That's tax stamps, that's optics, that's triggers, that's aftermarket, everything else, and pain and suffering as well. So again, under $2,500 for this versus the SP5, which would have cost me $2,500 just for the pistol itself. Then all the extras and add-ons I wanted to do to make it a real SBR would have been $4,000 easy. So one of the reasons I knew I could do this really easy is you see the Trunnion pattern over here, these two little dots at the end. Well, what is that thing called? The M9065 has the same Trunnion pattern, and that's a Romanian underfolder pattern. And so this is really easy, right? All you got to do is either cut into the receiver and drill through this Trunnion and set it up for that, or you can go ahead and remove the receiver, or remove the rear receiver, or rear Trunnion, and then put this in and then drill out to fit the hole of the Trunnion. So there are a couple of ways about going about it, but anyway, I was fortunate enough to get a machinist to help me out, and he was able to cut into here, and that saved me a lot of trouble of having to remove the rear Trunnion. I went with the original Trunnion. So that's how we came about the Underfolder. Changed out the pistol grip, changed out the trigger. These are all easy things, ALG on there. Let's talk about the dust cover. Dust cover is very proprietary. This is about the only thing that's really going to fit. Now, I went back and forth about doing a couple of different rail mounts that didn't go as far. But to do a rail mount, you got to remember the Micro Draco. This is the rear sight block, except there's no rear sight. It's just removed. So what I had to do is find a surplus one and add it to it. Now, I would have loved to find a Romanian G that would have had that big old red G on the side of it. Wasn't able to find any of those, unfortunately, so just a regular surplus Romanian made it on here. From there, what it ended up doing is, I don't know if you guys have seen those, but these have, I think it's called a Taro. And they're a rail system, but they replace the rear sight, and they only go about this far back, which I really liked. But the only problem is with this PS primary arms, micro prism optic 3x magnification in 762 by 39. I didn't have a good enough field of view with it, so what I needed to do is move it back farther. And what I did is I went with the Texas Weapon Systems dogleg rail Gen 3 model. Now, unfortunately, I made a very big boo-boo. It comes with a proprietary, what are you calling this? The rod, recoil rod, essentially, or dust cover latch. And what I didn't know at the time. Well, I knew, I just didn't realize it at the time. Is the micro Draco comes with a shorter one. It's just a little bit shorter, about this long. And so what happened is when I installed it and used theirs, it was too big. And so what happening, it was binding and hitting and tearing this thing up. Now, unfortunately, I have reached out to Texas Weapon Systems, and they do have a one that would actually work with the micro Draco. Unfortunately, they only sell it in a kit, and it's $500. And the kit wouldn't work with my build out because it's an underfolder. Long story short, this will be my last Texas Weapon Systems rail mount dog leg rail, because of customer service. Not because necessarily the product, but getting them to try to help me out has just been a unfruitful venture. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to cut this down, because again, this uses a proprietary latch. Now the old style, which I have here, will work, and what I'm gonna do is just cut this off, drill in here, cut this one down to the right length I need, attach it in here, and then all should be well in the world, and I will have the right size. But I'm gonna have to do it myself, because hey, Texas Weapon Systems, you won't sell me just this, or you won't at least help me get to this just. And I've offered you money, but just not $500 worth of money. It's just not worth it. I can do it myself. So that's talking about the rail system. We talked about the optic. The optic's pretty cool. It's a very nice, solid little optic. Having it on like whether it was 5.56 or 7.62 by 39. I think this is a great little optic. I'm really enjoying it. You definitely want it farther back to you. It comes with tons of different little mounting brackets. I think you can see on here, just depending on what your need and setup is. So it's pretty cool. And I like this optic. I think I might even consider getting one in 5.56 for an AR I have. So yeah, optic. I've enjoyed that. Moving up to the handguards. Again, when you're doing something that's never been done before, this is where it gets a little troublesome. So one of the troubles I had was there's only about 4 types of handguards. 1, Texas Weapon Systems makes. 2 are made by SLR Works, and one of them fit and one of them didn't. And then the factory. And unfortunately, the factory one is too wide for the underfolder. So it really left me with pretty much one option that would work, and this is it. Now, there's a small chance the Texas Weapon Systems quad rail one would have fit, but I didn't really like it. And again, when I called them up, I asked them, hey, what their refund or exchange policy was, and they said it doesn't exist. So I wasn't going to take a $500 gamble. So I went with the SLR, and the SLR, this one works. Unfortunately, there's another one that's about 3.5 inches long, or they call it the 3.7, and this is like the 4 point something. The 3.7, the rails were too far extended out, and the underfolder was hitting it and it wouldn't latch. So that's the issue with the handguards. There's basically 4 options. If you're doing the underfolder, it really limits you. Which goes to the next thing I've got to figure out. Everything I've got figured out on here except for this next part. Currently, I have a Polish booster on here, which is fine. What I did go is I went and got to CAC Industries, and I got one of their cone boosters essentially on here. And what I noticed is the battery was just too much to do quick follow-up shots like you can normally do with other weapon platforms of this size. And so what I'm going to need to do is find more of a compensator that's going to diminish some of the gas out to the right and left, which means I have to extend out past the handguards just enough so I don't have any gas being extended out inside the handguards. That would be really bad. That being said, if you look at everything I have would be firing inside the handguards. And well, you know, I've got plenty of comps. Now, come to find out, this is pretty sad, but all these little boosters, you know, just the slant brake wouldn't work. It's too long. But unfortunately, and then I guess I could use the Yugo grenade launcher adapter on here, but that would just be really silly and kind of defeat the purpose of trying to keep it compact. If y'all remember those Tapco's 14x1 AK-74 style comps, that would actually be long enough to clear. Unfortunately, like everyone else, I pretty much gave away or sold away that junk years and years ago, and now I've got to find one. Now, there are some people who make a newer model of that doesn't say Tapco on it, but the other thing is it's like $40 for the compensator, and I just cannot bring myself to spend $40 on something that I don't think I would have paid $19.99 for 10 years ago. So that's the other thing that's just kind of hard to justify. One thing, because I am using this Bravo company forward grip here, and again, you can do this if you have an SBR. If you have a pistol, don't put any forward grips on your weapon system. That will get you in trouble with the law. But any polymer mags that I've been using, whether they're surplus or Tapco, or not Tapco, I guess Tapco too, and Magpul, have not been able to give me the right angle to get them in there. But all my surplus mags have been doing just fine. So some cheap Korean stuff or Romanian or Yugoslavian, those have all been fine. But the polymer stuff, unfortunately, has just been a little too big for it to actually fit in there quite right for the angles. But yeah, it's a fun gun. I've got to figure out the compensator issue to help reduce recoil, and so I can get quicker follow-up shots. But again, this could very easily fit into a backpack. I do want to find some 20-round Hungarian mags, but I am not paying $40 for a 20-round Hungarian mag. So, you know, that's fine. I do know the South Koreans make some 20-round Hungarian mags, or 20-round style Hungarian mags, and I may just pick up some of those. But I don't know. Maybe I'll spend the big bucks. Who knows? But it's just nuts. AK prices are insane. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy this video. I think I've covered just about everything. It's been a fun build. It definitely took way longer. I'd like to, before I do a Magged Up Monday with this, I'd like to find the right compensator to really see if we can get this thing to sing. But anyway, it's been a fun build, but it's almost done. Just gotta find the right comp and moving forward. But yeah, this thing again, it's about 14.5 inches all in. So I mean, great little backpack, truck gun, or just kind of a novelty thing. Anyway, this is the Mad Marine wishing you all the best. Have a great one.